Going, here we go. And as soon as I get the sound test working. But no, yes, I did. I got the sound test working. Okay, so let's get over there. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm John Miglosh for the Wisconsin DMA and the International Society for Strategic Marketing. Since we're kicking off our 4th year, and as you know, this show is full of disinformation. And so is the marketing world. It's basically buzzwords on top of buzzwords. The show is helping you see through the misinformation of marketing. But I'm going to talk more specifically about media disinformation and other misinformation. Today it's just about misinformation. So if you want to be misinformed, stay here. Got it? Okay, here we go. Okay, got milk. This is a campaign specifically designed to question your misinformation paradigms. And let's see if this works. We'll go over to the YouTube idea here. And supposedly this will, I don't know if this will work or not.
Disinformation is...
Nope, didn't work. Let's see, YouTube. It's turned on, but it's not set to the right thing. And that's pretty normal. Let's see. I think it is set to the right thing. It's just not formatted right. Oh, there it goes. Okay. Here we go. I'll back it up. Okay, we'll probably get in trouble for this.
Disinformation is everywhere these days, but can it get Californians to doubt what they love most?
I would need to see the research on that.
Not enough doubt in the world to make Californians question the wholesome goodness of grandmas and real milk. Got milk?
Okay, so that went a little too fast for me. I even watching it the second or third time, it's basically saying that no matter what anybody says, milk is good, and no matter what anybody says, marketing is good. It's the backbone of capitalism, and capitalism good, which is more misinformation that you run across regularly. But anyway, enough of that. We'll get over back to the real news. And I promised I'd go in 10 minutes, and it's impossible. But Fox News wins an appeal case. Apparently they reported some misinformation, or somebody thought it was misinformation. Oh, shoot. The picture, this is the wrong article. But there's an article that goes with this from Ray Schultz. I'll post the real article. Sometimes when you hit the, there's a button for reader view, and sometimes it totally changes the article. Not my fault. Well, it is kind of. But you can see the link actually is, we can go over to the link. Sure, yeah, let's go over to the link. And I don't think you'll see it anyway. But if we could show it to you, which we might be able to by going here. Yeah, there it is. Okay, so we can kind of show it to you. If we can show it to you, the extent we can show it to you, there was this really great visual with Sean Hannity and a terrible coronavirus picture, which there's lots of them all over the place. And I don't know what his story was, but basically the courts ruled that the First Amendment does not get you don't suspend the First Amendment just because because it's disagreeing with the current science. Because as we reported on this show, it took 40 years for the hand washing to catch on as a way of transmission of disease. Prior to that, it was aerosol. That was, for centuries, it was breathing bad air will make you sick. Okay? And then it took 40 years for the hand washing, and one guy went insane because he was so sure it was right. And finally it caught on. And actually in the COVID case, hand washing, if you remember back just a few months, and now it's a year and a half ago, if you remember, it was all about washing your hands. Don't touch your face, all of that sort of thing. This has nothing to do with Sean Hannity. I'm just saying that the hand washing was so pervasive. There's a guy who did research in the 50s that proved almost perfectly conclusively that flu and colds and all this stuff were transmitted by aerosol. And yet we're still into the droplets theory. He proved by putting UV filters in the 50s in school classrooms, he could basically eliminate colds. Why aren't we treating COVID with UV filters? Nobody's talking about it. I don't know. You would have heard about it on here. But that, the point is there's a theory and there's an opposition, and there's a theory, and there's an opposition. And so whatever the popular thing is, whether it's digital transformation or big data or AI is everything or personalization, whatever it is, it's probably wrong. And you almost always safe going the opposite way. So let's talk some more about misinformation. We're going to go on. Let's get back to the PDFs. Okay, so here's a really interesting article. It's much better than I expected it to be about what you can do as a media outlet or as an ad agency to silence, not only like this word here, silence disinformation, because ultimately, the prescription for misinformation is what? Silence? No. The prescription is free speech, right? That is the brilliance of the First Amendment. And that's kind of what the court said about the Fox case. And so the first thing I was interested in is what is practical advice to stop clients from funding harmful disinformation. Now, yesterday the style consultant sent me I hope it was I can't get over there. I can't do this in 10 minutes. But she showed an ad for cigarettes and a pregnant woman. She showed ads for heroin tablets to calm your nerves. There were 4 ads and they were all hilarious because they were completely psycho in today's worldview, in science view. But anyway, so not only is there disinformation on the media, but there's disinformation in the ads. And the cure is what? Free speech. The aerosol guy from the 50s was silenced. Every medical textbook quotes him wrong and dismisses him right now. And, it's only on this show that you'll find the answer. It was in a Wired article, actually. It's a brilliant Wired article. I actually wrote to him and told him how great it was. So, there's lots of kinds of misinformation and disinformation. And it's not misinformation just because it's a different view than yours, right? But we all know that there were verifiably false and misleading claims, like Scott Adams just mentioned this week about how the media is still saying that Trump said you should drink bleach. Trump never said you should drink bleach. You might think it in your head. Go back and watch the clips. Trump was talking about UV light, new technology allowing UV light to be inserted, a light source to be inserted intravenously and disinfect your blood. And so, yes, he said disinfectant, internal disinfectant, but he was talking about UV light, and Scott Adams sent him the article, and I was, Scott and I write back and forth, and so I have the article somewhere, about this new technology. So it was verifiably false, and yet it's still being promoted today about a verified, legitimate, patented treatment. I don't remember if it works for COVID or not, but Trump was just talking about alternative treatments. We were told ventilators was everything. And, but 85% of people you put on ventilators, because they have to drug you up so that your body doesn't, choke on the ventilator tube. And maybe that'll kill you right on its own. I don't know that much. This is not medical information. I'm just saying that just in the last 18 months, things have really flip-flopped. Okay? So the cure is free speech. Now, and I'll post this article. It's an excellent article, really does have good points, and there's especially a good point down at the bottom which basically says, teach people, especially children, to develop critical thinking. I used to watch shows with my kids and say, what are they really selling here? What's their real point? What's their real point? And we would talk about it, and that's an excellent thing to do with your kids. Okay, so what's the most practical way to handle disinformation? The answer is print. Mail to your customers. Mail to them directly. Communicate directly. And this is another excellent article by Tanya Powers. And she says, You know, we got everybody wanted to go with digital into all their marketing efforts, but there's digital fatigue, and many are overwhelmed by the number of emails they get. But guess what? You can engage with your customers that want to cut screen time. And how do you do it? With print. Print is physical. Print is haptic. You have 10 times more touch receptors in your head than you do sight receptors, believe it or not. And you get new audiences, and there's all kinds of statistics about it. But it can also be programmatic so that when people visit your website, you can mail them, right? And we're working on some other programs right now. If you're a digital advertiser and you're looking for alternatives, I suggest you reach out to me, John at WDMA.org, and we'll help you get with people that know what they're doing. Have a great day. Like and share. Your friends will know you're smart. Bye-bye. I got to wait on this now because I got to wait till I see myself stopping to talk. There it goes.